Okay, we're back. I can do this. Okay, part 2. Number 5. I never wanted to be in this position. I really didn't. I genuinely hoped that it would never, ever come to this. Okay, here we go. Okay, look, before this year, I didn't really feel any of the K-pop I've ever heard. Like, I tried back when Gangnam Style hit, and maybe it was just the language barrier, but mostly just sounded like the annoying Black Eyed Peas stuff I was already tired of in English, so I just moved on. And then when BTS started building a presence in America, I wasn't into it. Like I did a couple token listens, but it just felt like a topic I should avoid, because I felt out of my depth. Plus, the fandom was so terrifyingly intense that eventually I was like, why don't I just not do my job? Why don't I just completely fail to do my job, and maybe if I learn as little about them as possible, I'll never, ever have to talk about them. And then I saw them perform this, like, once, like on SNL or something. Fuck. Because I knew after one listen that it was going to be on the best list. Now I gotta talk about them. God, just mentioning them is going to get me written into a bunch of weird fanfic or something. And that is entirely valid if you want to do that, and not something I am criticizing in any way. All I can say is thank God I didn't have to put this on the worst list. So speaking as someone who's still fairly new to the BTS phenomenon, yeah, I really like this song. I've never bothered to look up what the lyrics mean. Honestly, I don't care. I've got the title, so I'm pretty sure I get the gist. The little I did find about it said it was like sort of a follow-up to their previous single, Boy in Love. So, you know, this is the moment of triumph. They got the girl. And you can call it kind of meta because this is their biggest hit ever in America. It's a double triumph. Clearly, Halsey is what put them over the top. No, she feels pretty unnecessary to the BTS phenomenon. So, is this the big sea change for K-pop? Is it about to go mainstream? I still have doubts it'll ever have its own Despacito. Boy with Love only charted for a couple of weeks. We don't really have as many Korean speakers in this country like we do Spanish. I think the language barrier might be too high.
Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films.
On the other hand, who would have guessed watching Voltron in the 80s that the next few generations would grow up obsessed with Japanese cartoons? So maybe the K-pop moment really is coming, because when I just imagine pop music in my head, just like the ideal of it, Boy with Love is what it sounds like to me. So maybe K-pop really is going to take over. Unless any pretty boy pop stars in the West want to put down the challengers.
You got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yummy.
I, for one, welcome our new Korean overlords. Number 4. When the decade ended, every music site published their best songs of the decade list, and the consensus great pop song of the decade, better than Royals, better than Call Me Maybe, better than Rude by Magic, which will someday be recognized as the greatest song ever written, better than all of those, Robyn's Dancing on My Own. And understandably, it's a brilliant track that proves you can have a high-tempo dance song that's still one of the saddest, loneliest songs ever written.
I keep dancing on my own.
When they make movies about the early 2010s, that's the one song all the characters will be dancing to. Even though in real life we were all listening to One Republic. But yeah, it's obviously a towering achievement, and its influence lives on. I've seen many, many people attempt to recreate it over the years. No one's ever really done it. But I respect the attempt.
Look what you made me do. I wish somebody knew.
Is Sam Smith actually becoming good? Like, early on, the impression I got was that featuring Sam Smith songs were good, but actual by Sam Smith songs, you could skip them.
Stay with me.
Boring! Considering the dynamite freshman class of 2019, Smith seems like absolutely the type of artist you should be able to dismiss as yesterday's news. But honestly, I think I'm starting to develop some appreciation for them. Especially this, their best song yet, Dancing with a Stranger.
Oh, baby, baby, I'm dancing with
And yes, it is entirely an attempt to remake Dancing on My Own, right down to the similar titles. But ripoffs can be great too. And I think the very thing I don't like about Sam Smith, their eternally sexless tastefulness, it actually kind of works to the song's advantage.
I don't wanna be alone tonight.
Sam singing like, "You hurt me, so I'm dancing with a stranger." The implication being that they're gonna go have sex later, because otherwise I don't think anyone would care. It's like, oh, you did the electric slide with someone else. But just the way Sam sings it, you can tell it's gonna be like the saddest, most unsatisfying revenge sex ever. Robin dancing on her own in the corner is somehow less lonely than what Sam Smith is doing here.
Look what you made me do. I was somebody new.
And then there's Normani, who, look, the vibe I've always gotten from all of Fifth Harmony, solo and otherwise, is that they were trying way too hard. And it does feel kind of wrong that on Normani's 2 big hits, she has to dance her ass off for dopey teenager Khalid and obviously non-hetero Sam Smith.
I don't wanna be alone tonight.
But as a singer, she's actually very low-key and smoky, and I think she really plays well off of them. Which is good, because otherwise this song doesn't really make any sense as a duet. Like, I'm still asking this question, like, do they know each other? Are they the exes? Are they the strangers? Are they singing to each other, with each other, about each other? Are they completely separate? I like the one answer I got, which is they are both the same person. Can't think of 2 people more different, but it does make sense in a way, because really, aren't we all constantly dancing with the stranger ourselves? Makes you think. No, it doesn't, but this song's really good.
Dancing with a stranger.
Number 3. As Katy Perry's time as a hitmaker winds down, I admit I found her more compelling than when she was big and her music was better. Everything she's said and done in the past couple of years makes her seem like a woman racked with regrets. She literally casts herself as a Marie Antoinette who dreams of being Joan of Arc. God, the self-loathing of that, it's just soul-scarringly depressing. And that's even before you get to the song and the album being terrible and failing miserably. There's just something really tragic and heartbreaking about it, especially because sad Katy Perry is so off-brand from the music that made her famous. It's just not something anyone seems to want.
I'm losing myself.
So she scraped onto the charts one last time in 2019. And yes, I do suspect it will be her last, because it didn't stick around for very long. And I don't think it would have charted at all if it weren't one of the best songs of her entire career.
Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And if I think it over, maybe you'll be coming over again. And I have to get over.
I have underestimated Zedd so much. Like, I can think of songs of his I didn't like, but not because of anything he did on it. Although, the ticking clock, that's one of the sillier producer trademarks I've ever known. It's like John Woo with his goddamn doves. Like, I got it the first time. Not every shootout needs doves. Not every quiet moment needs a ticking clock. Just shout Zedd at the beginning of your songs like other producers do.
Tell myself, draw the line.
But this may be his best song yet. And if he had given it to someone a little more popular right now, it might have had more legs, but I don't think it would have been as good.
Thought it was done, but I guess it's never really over.
Naming a song Never Really Over is a bold move from someone who has to be worrying that she is really over. But that air of tragedy that Katy has now, someone who's seen happier days, it's what really sells that amazing hook to me.
2 years and just like that.
It's a song about being blindsided by feelings for a long dead relationship, and the wishful thinking that the flame can be relit. And it's clear that the narrator is just delusional.
Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And if I think it over, maybe.
Like, she's not really over it, but the relationship is in fact really over, and she just spits out words like she's losing her mind. This is the best chorus of the year, and it blows me away. And if I'm right, which I'm usually not, but if I am about Katy Perry being done, this will be a good note to go out on for her. Because even if it's over, the feelings are still there. And I have a lot of good memories of Katy Perry songs, so I'm glad she gave us one truly great last song at the end of this decade. Number 2.
Packing the mail, it's gone.
DaBaby is a guy made for a fisheye lens. His ambitions are clearly to be the next Busta Rhymes or Ludacris, you know, guys who just want to go as big and over the top as they can. Every picture of him, he's flashing this big-ass grin with rows upon rows of like 800 teeth. This is a guy people listen to just coast on his ridiculous charisma. And certainly not to talk about anything serious. I mean, who would want that? No one. Certainly not this early in his career. I mean, it'll probably happen someday, but, you know, he's still a rookie. He's not going to do that anytime soon.
Thinking about my grandmama and shit. I got the #1 record, they acknowledge the jit. They going crazy when they play a head bobbing and shit. And I'm just someone.
Yeah, this is the second heartfelt rap song on the list from a guy who usually doesn't do that. I'm an easy mark, I guess. My favorite DMX song is Slippin'.
Hey, yo, I'm slipping, falling. I can't get up.
That's a terrible opinion. Jesus Christ. Who picks Slippin' over Party Up or Rough Riders Anthem? My God.
If I love you, then I need ya. I fuck with you like Martin fuck with Gina.
But regardless of whether or not I'm a soft heart, I was just kind of awestruck by this song. Like, it's hard to call this a swerve because DaBaby only debuted that year, but he made such a goddamn splash initially. It felt like he established his image really quickly with that first album. And when he dropped a second one just 6 months later, I think people expected more of the same. And instead, it felt like he jumped light years forward. I don't think even he expected this song to turn out so well, considering that he never even gave it a real name. It's just the goddamn intro to the album. No one puts any effort into their intros. They just play some loud noises and they shout something like, "Tearing it up in 2007!" And then they'll rap half a bar and then start the actual record. But at some point, DaBaby must have realized that his intro was not only a real song, it's a song good enough to be a lead single.
Same time I got the news, my shit was #1, that's fucked up.
Because it's about, you know, his tangled emotions, about his dad dying right before he started being successful. That's also what Lucas Graham's 7 Years is about. I like DaBaby's version better.
Don't give up all I got to see you happy, nigga.
This song only debuted a couple months ago, and I feel like I've listened to it a billion times. It just means a lot to me.
If I love you, then I need ya.
Even in this song about death and tangled emotions, he's still mugging it up in the video. And I think that sums up the song's appeal. Like, nothing's so bad that you can't come out the other side laughing about it. That's what I needed this year. Thank you, DaBaby.
Niggas ain't cut from the same club, they niggas see through. And I be too busy doing me to see what he do, nigga.
And that'll be the intro to our honorable mention, so let's get that done.
You should meet me on the east side in the city with the sun on set.
Tracy Chapman's Fast Car for Generation Z. And I could not mean that as higher praise.
Then you're left in the dust unless I stuck by ya.
Now, this one's just relaxing. Hey, maybe Post Malone will become the other half of Ray Shremmerd permanently.
What I really wanna see is the
In any other year, this would have made the list. This was the last cut I made, and it was painful. Check out Hustlers, by the way.
In the shallow.
Only this version, though, the one at the Oscars.
When I party, then I party too much.
And from the non-hit section of the honorable mentions, Carly Rae's new album was exactly as good as Emotion, Don't At Me.
I've been the usher.
Yeah, most of my enemies started out friends too, Taylor.
Watch me take a good thing and fuck it all up in one night.
Now, here's probably my worst opinion. Like, I don't like either of these artists separately, but I absolutely support them joining forces and making Linkin Park ripoffs for the rest of their careers.
Stop this fucking war with me.
Ain't my fault that I'm out here getting loose.
Look, Truth Hurts is fine, Good as Hell is fine. The Lizzo single of the year was Juice. But I restrict this list to the hits, and this was technically not a hit. I don't understand how that's possible, seeing as everyone seems to know this goddamn song now, but I made my stupid rules and I'm gonna follow them. Can't believe it only charted at number 82. Crazy. But anyway, what was the best hit of the year? Let's find out. Number 1. So, last spring, there was this little movie called Brightburn. It was like, what if Superman had landed on Earth, but he was an evil little kid? A LexCorp film. I mean, you don't really know more about it than the premise. I did enjoy it, but I'm not going to tell you it was great or even good. But it did have one really joyous moment. Because they do the epilogue and the end credits start, and you know, well, we need some background music, so what is the most obvious way we could end this bluntly obvious movie? Like, what is the most comically on-the-nose way a movie about an evil Superman could have ended in the spring of 2019? Duh. I fucking love this song.
So you're a tough guy.
And I am holding on to this love for as long as I can because this song is absolutely going to be destroyed by movie trailers, if nothing else, which is already happening.
So you're a tough guy, like it really rough guy.
Or from fan vids, general overplay, any girl who wants to dress up as Harley Quinn for Halloween. Like, I really hope this song still sounds as good by the end of 2020, but I'm worried it's just going to be memed to death. I hope not. I've been doing this job a while, and, you know, I do worry that I'm getting out of touch with the new stuff the kids are listening to, which is, you know, ridiculous, because I wasn't down with the youth of America back when I was a youth of America. Maybe I just have to deal with the fact that, you know, maybe I'm just not gonna get 21 Pilots or Lil Pump or whoever. But Billie Eilish I got immediately. I was like, Jesus Christ, this girl's a superstar. Buy 8,000 shares of Billie Eilish right now. And then I rode that stock to the fucking moon. There have been teenagers who have felt authentic before, but the authenticity they capture is like the confidence of youth or the innocence. Billie is the first one who really captures that teenagers are fucking terrifying. You know how I mentioned I used to be a substitute teacher? Yeah, kids that age are sociopaths, and Billie Eilish scares the absolute shit out of me. And one of the great joys of Bad Guy is that I've been watching for years all the big name pop divas try to be dangerous and scary. And then they just all get completely blown out of the water by this barely audible teenager in shapeless clothes who only has to say, I fucked your dad. Or no, not even I fucked your dad. I might seduce your dad. Like, the less she does, the more everyone else looks like a complete and total poser. And the funny thing is that in interviews, she seems perfectly wholesome. Meanwhile, Justin Bieber, who really was the bad boy of music for a long time, he jumped in on the remix, and that was what put it over the top and finally broke Old Town Road's Iron Grip on the #1 spot. But Bieber is fucking terrible on it.
That guy, don't act like you don't know that guy.
He cannot pull off what Billie is doing at all. And it's not just Billie herself. The song is also just fucking great. Hooks for days. I can't even pick one favorite moment. Is it that killer bass line? The finger snaps?
Likes to sing along.
Perfect delivery of duh?
Duh.
That little lick when the beat comes back in?
I'll be your animal.
Honestly, I think my favorite moment is the creepy laugh that starts the outro. Just an absolutely brilliant song all around, and absolutely deserved to be one of the biggest hits of the year. I heard it and I felt like I saw the future of music. I only hope things stay this good in 2020. Good night, everybody.
Bust down, Tatiana. Bust down, Tatiana. I wanna see you bust down. Pick it up, now break that shit down. Break it down. Speed it up, then slow that shit down.